Hey, how's it going guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toasty Bros, and today we're doing a $2,200 12th Gen Intel fully sponsored Gigabyte gaming PC.
Gigabyte Aorus was nice enough to sponsor this PC build to showcase the launch of the Aorus Water Force lineup of water coolers. They got 240mm, 280mm, and 360mm, along with a bunch of awesome RGB fans. We're gonna be installing the 280mm into this PC build, along with all the RGB fans that they sent over, and they're perfect for your next 12th Gen Intel gaming PC like we're doing right here today. So be sure to check the link down below to buy these awesome water coolers and all the new cooling products that Gigabyte Aorus has to offer. But yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about the rest of the PC parts and how it makes up this $2,200 gaming PC.
So we're really excited to have this bad boy right here, the 12600K. This is a 12th Gen i5 that is overclockable. And we're gonna do a quick maths lesson here. So basically, you have 10 total cores and you're probably like, okay, that sounds easy enough. But then you have 6 performance cores, 4 efficient cores, but you have 16 threads. How does that work? Well, in just simple terms, you add the total cores, which is 6 plus 4, 6 performance cores, and then 4 efficiency cores, you get 10. And then the performance cores can hyper-thread, but the efficiency cores cannot hyper-thread. So you get 10 plus 16, sorry, 10 plus 6, 10 plus 6, which is 16. So 16 threads, 10 cores. It's complicated, but supposedly based on all the benchmarking we saw, this thing right here does amazing. Those efficiency cores actually make a huge difference. It's not like a big gimmick like a lot of people thought it was. I personally thought it was just Intel's ways of trying to seem like they have way more cores, but realistically, this actually does a really, really good in gaming and like every application you throw at this thing, and it's overclockable. And for the motherboard, we have the Z690 Pro Aorus board, which actually we happened to get kind of by mistake. I mean, we wanted the board, but it wasn't sent to us. We just happened to plan it with it, so that worked out really well. But this is DDR5 and PCI Gen 5, which is pretty freaking awesome. So going to the back here, I mean, you can see with all these current DDR5 boards, they don't have any cheap boards. There's no such thing as a budget DDR5 board. So you're talking about 200 plus for every single board. So you have really nice heat sinks. You have full I/O covers and VRM covers, fully overclockable. These are great boards. They have a lot of USB ports too, which is nice. They finally kind of went back and got more USB ports. This does have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in, and it's the really high-end stuff. So pretty excited to be using this board. Now for RAM. Don't look up the pricing on this right now because it's like a scalper market for a DDR5. It's kind of stupid, but this is Corsair Dominator Platinum RGB, 32 gigs, DDR5, and here's the crazy part. 5,200 megahertz speed, okay? But Matt pointed this out the other day and it was kind of a letdown. The CAS latency, which we may be able to, I don't think they don't even advertise it, they're embarrassed, but the CAS latency is like CL50, CL48. Absolutely insane. We'll actually open it up here. Well, I guess we can just open it up.
I already opened it because I wanted to look at it.
You already did. That's why I was like, might as well just open it. But we'll see the CAS latency on it. Because it is insane. And we've kind of heard it goes both ways, like depending on what application you use, that 5,200 megahertz might be absolutely insane, but that CAS latency is so bad right now, it almost like balances out in certain use cases. So yeah, you can see 38, 38, 38, 84. So yeah, just take that as you will, but it is RGB. It does look really nice. It is an insane speed. It's just for the price right now, you might want to wait until DDR5 gets a little bit further along so that the CL speeds lower a little bit. Because I mean, 5,200 megahertz is cool and all, but if it's $500 for this kit of RAM, and you can buy a DDR4 3600 megahertz like CL16 kit for, let's say 120, 130 bucks, I would probably go with the DDR4 one, unless you're just balls to the wall, you have so much money and you just don't care. Now for storage, we have this XPG GameX S50 Lite, and this is, as you can see, Gen 4x4. So it's a Gen 4 NVMe SSD. It's 1 terabyte, which is plenty of storage, and it is a shiny box. There's really not much to say about these Gen 4 drives. They've been out for a little bit now, so we've kind of hammered on them, but they're just a little bit faster than a Gen 3 NVMe SSD. They plop right into your board. This is 12th gen, so it's fully compatible, and we're basically getting the absolute best read and write speeds we can.
Now for the graphics card, we have the EVGA GeForce RTX 3060 Ti. The 3060 Ti is an absolute awesome card, and yeah, given the market right now, they're still really hard to get, but if you can pick one up at a decent price through like a Newegg Shuffle or whatever like lottery system that's out there for graphics cards, you will not be disappointed, and I think it's a great pairing with this i5 12600K, making for a great streaming editing, whatever gaming PC you want. And yeah, we're excited to be using it. Now for the power supply, we have the EVGA 750B5, which is a 750 watt power supply. It is 80 plus bronze and it comes with some nice black sleeve cables. We love EVGA power supplies. They're very efficient and they work really well for pretty much any PC build, and they're pretty cost effective as well. Now for the case, we have the NZXT H510 Elite, which is, well, basically the H510 but with this glass front. I really wish the H510 Flow was out because that would have been the best option for this, but the Elite is what we went with, mainly because what I have right here are 120 mil fans. The 140 mils are actually over there. But what we're gonna be doing is installing that 280 mil radiator up front inside this because it does support two 140 millimeter fans. And then these back two fans are gonna be installing these 120 mil RGB fans. So we can fully deck this out with the Aorus RGB ecosystem. And yeah, we like this case. It's great. It's all black. It's gonna look very clean. How about we just go ahead and put this thing together? All right, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have this all gigabyte gaming PC all booted up and ready to go, let's talk about a couple benchmarks real quick. Now, we side test this PC in a couple of titles, those being Apex Legends, Borderlands 3, Call of Duty Vanguard, and the Halo Infinite multiplayer beta, which we'll talk more about here in a second. First up, in Apex Legends on max settings at 1440p, we did test every single game at 1440p. We averaged 150 FPS. This is where we start to see that the clear bottleneck in the system is the 3060 Ti, and we'll see later on in the benchmarks how this continues and brings up a more interesting discussion about 12th gen Intel. But getting 150 plus FPS at 1440p on Apex Legends in max settings is still very impressive. Most people would not run max settings Apex Legends because you're going for more optimized high frame rates. So you're probably going to want to lower the settings and rely a lot more on that CPU, and I could easily see you getting 200 plus FPS constant at 1080p or 1440p with lower settings. Now, next up, in Borderlands 3 on ultra settings at 1440p using the built-in benchmark, we averaged 81 FPS. Once again, the 3060 Ti is the bottleneck, but again, running really max settings on Borderlands 3, which is no easy feat at 1440p, and getting over 60 FPS is still very impressive. But one thing that I'm drawing from all these benchmarks so far is that 12th gen Intel really needs a super high-end GPU to make a whole lot of sense. You're spending a lot of money on the CPU, a lot of money right now on the motherboard and DDR5 memory. It really only makes sense to go with something like a 3070 Ti or above level card. When newer like B660 boards or whatever lower end chipset comes out and the more locked CPUs come out to the market and maybe DDR5 gets a little bit more affordable, then those 3060 Ti's make a lot of sense with like a i5 12 12400. I'm totally guessing what the model's name would be, but like a 12400 or something like that would probably work really well. But at this current moment, something like a Ryzen 7 5800X makes a whole lot more sense in terms of value for money for a 3060 Ti. Now that doesn't mean that this system is awful. As you can see on Call of Duty Vanguard on ultra settings at 1440p, we got 100 plus FPS. It just really doesn't make a whole lot of sense in terms of value for money. But if you're somebody who really wants 12th gen Intel and managed to get a 3060 Ti, I wouldn't complain if you did that. That's still a really awesome build. I just think if you're going to go 12th gen and spend all that money already on DDR5 and a really high-end CPU and motherboard, even the i5 is pretty high-end, you should really go for a super high-end GPU like a 6800XT or higher, or a 3070 Ti or higher. Also, let me know down below what you think of Call of Duty Vanguard. This is my first time actually playing it in this benchmark run, and I'm not a huge fan of it. It's not the worst game in the world, but it's definitely a little bit different from other Call of Duties in the past, so let me know what you think down below. And I was actually very lucky to be able to test the Halo Infinite beta on high settings at 1440p and to get 100 plus FPS. Main reason being, I was benchmarking this PC and I got a tweet that said, well, the Halo Infinite beta is out, so I went ahead, downloaded it on Steam, and launched it day one and got some benchmarks. So take some of these numbers with a grain of salt. There's probably going to be some updates later down the line that will improve performance, but at 1440p, at this current moment, we got 100 plus FPS. So overall, this build is really awesome, and that cooler from Gigabyte, the Aorus Waterforce cooler, kept that CPU nice and cool. It'd be perfectly adequate for cooling pretty much any CPU on the market, even the 12900K. So if you're looking to build a super high-end gaming rig and want to keep that thing nice and cool, along with a very awesome ecosystem of RGB products, definitely check the link down below and pick up the Gigabyte Waterforce cooler, along with some of the RGB fans that they sent over to really deck out this PC build. So now we finished the benchmarking section of today's video. How to bring Jackson back in here to wrap this video up real quick.
Alright guys, so we just did some benchmarking on this amazing 12th gen Intel i5 gaming PC, and it definitely games really well.
The 12th gen Intel processors are just really awesome. Paired with DDR5 and a Z690 motherboard, it really can handle any graphics card you throw at it, no problem whatsoever. And yeah, very happy with this PC build. Once again, big thanks to Gigabyte Aorus for sending over these AIOs and sponsoring today's video. Use their liquid coolers and these awesome RGB fans for your next gaming PC build, because it'll keep it nice and cool and look really awesome while doing so.
And if you're gonna buy any of the stuff from this build, use our affiliate links in the description down below. They will help us out. And don't forget to check out our other two YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
And hey, sometimes we record these videos over a month ahead of time, and so you gotta wait all that time to see any special content from us. But if you check out our social medias, you can see all that stuff ahead of time.
Especially Twitter and Instagram. We post a lot of stuff while we're filming videos, so definitely check those out. And also our TikTok, because, well, we do a lot of crazy fun stuff over there. So yeah, links down below. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. Goodbye.